Hello everyone, this is my 6-month review of my newly rebuilt AlienWare Area51 R2. Just giving an update on how things have been going since my first video. As you can see, I have a whole new setup. Everything's much more neat. Everything's moved in. All the wires are tidied up. I got these two tables on Amazon for $60, and I got the cable management kits on Amazon as well. They're pretty cheap, and they do a pretty good job. Some minor tweaking with some of them because the double-sided tape, they use some cheap ones, so you may have to swap them out with better double-sided tape, but it's not really too much of an issue. And almost had this monitor for a year now, no issues. I did run into a thing where whenever I updated the firmware for the first time, it did flicker on and off. To rectify that issue, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is go into your device drivers after doing device driver update and doing the firmware update. You disable the driver, and then you delete it, and then you re-upload it. And then that'll fix the issue. It's actually a common issue with a lot of monitors. People will single this monitor out because of how much it costs, but it's actually a very common issue with a lot of monitors. I got my laptop sitting over here because doing some things with it. I got a new keyboard. This is the AlienWare 510K. It costs like $100. It's actually a pretty good keyboard, excuse me. I like that the keys don't make a lot of noise. Some people like that click-clack, loud banging. That's just not for me. I do like this. Goes, since I have Alienware, goes really well with it. I did not get an Alienware mouse. I don't like the way it looks and how much it costs. So I have the Logitech G Hero. And for all those that didn't see my previous video, I'm gonna take a look inside real quick. As you can see, this is the AlienWare Area51 R2 with the MSI Z790 motherboard with G.Skill Trident DDR5s, 6,000 megahertz transfers, RAM. These are total of 64 gigs, 16 gigs a stick. You got the 4080 GPU, Arctic liquid freezer cooler. This is the 240 variant. Might get the 360 in the future. Depends on how much I want to do with this. I'm thinking about doing some extra modifications to the case. We got two Bequite silent wing fans. They are great and move airflow very efficiently. The PSU is also MSI. I try to match up MSI with as much MSI as possible because it's usually less issues. Usually companies with their own, when it comes to their own stuff, it usually syncs up much better than matching. But yeah, everything inside is brand new, minus the RGB for the case itself. But aside from that, yeah, everything's new. I'll list all the stuff in the description if you want to take a look at it. So this is the specs for the CPU frequency. The GPU will go up to 3000K overclock, but it only does it when it needs to. So it usually just sits idle here at 25. CPU, depending on how many cores it uses, I have it set up where it will use either 5.8 or 5.5, or round out 5.6. See here, these are fans. CPU fan is actually the pump, so this number is slightly misleading. I have the pump maxed out, and it's not the CPU fan that's maxed out. System fans, this is just let you know everything that's running. I have my fan curve set up on everything, GPU fans included. So at start, I like for my GPU fans to be on, because the default is for it not to be on. But it's kind of up to you on how you want to set that up. Core temperature, as you see, is 40°C for the CPU, which is the Intel i9 13900K processor, which is a very, very hot chip. But as you can see, it's doing fine. It's not too hot, and when I'm doing games and things like that, it goes up to 70, 80, which the operating temperature for the CPU is 105, and starts throttling at 105 degrees Celsius. So this thing is allowed to get hot. See my RAM temps, pretty decent. And you see, there's not a lot of things going on right now because I'm not playing anything currently. I was doing some stuff earlier, so it's coming down from that usage. But as far as like issues or anything, I haven't had any issues. AlienWare Command Center, the one that I need for the case, still works. If you do get this, make sure you have it set up for show Alien FX on launch. You don't want it to show thermal controls on launch, or Alien Fusion, or Alien Adrenaline, or the OC controls. In fact, you don't even want to use any of these. And if this turns on, disable it immediately, because this is not made for current generation Alien, not used for like current generation stuff. This is an old Alienware program. You only want it just for the control of your RGB. That is it. Don't use it for anything else. It will not work correctly. Also, if you're using this, if you're able to use this, know that when you use Windows 10 or Windows 11, Windows 10 and Windows 11, they're virtually the same version underneath, so they do the same thing. In your power control settings, you need to make sure that when you hit the power button, that your computer actually turns off. Because what happens now is that your computer doesn't really actually turn all the way off. What it does, it goes into what is a pseudo hibernation standby mode. So most of the things will be off. However, there are certain things that they keep on to quote unquote give you a faster start. Honestly, with as much computing power as these computers can have nowadays, I don't even know why this is even a feature, or why they even bothered to even put this in. Because if you're using fast start to get an extra half a second login time, to me that's not beneficial. Also, what it does for your lights for this case is that your lights won't turn back on, because it got the signal to turn off but never gets the signal to turn back on. How does that work in the program? I'm not sure. I've never delved deep into the program to figure out why it does that. However, you have to keep in mind this is also set up with a different operating procedure in mind. So when you turn off that feature that keeps your computer on in that pseudo state, it works correctly every time. Even when it goes into sleep mode, it knows exactly what it should be doing. It does not like that new feature whatsoever. So if you're using this and you run into the problem of your lights not turning back on whenever you do a shutdown and turn back on, it's because of that. And I'll show you real quickly how you can find this. So instead of going to your normal control panel, what you can do is you can just type in power, and then you can just choose right here where it says power control. I have mine for the ultimate performance. You can also come in here, change settings. So I have mine set where it never goes to sleep. Can't turn off display. And you can also come in here and mess with other settings as well. The biggest thing is, what does it do when you tell it to go to sleep? So this button right here where it says choose what to do, choose what the power buttons do, excuse me. So mine I have set to shut down. And when I press sleep button, do nothing. Now, this right here is where things get a little interesting, right? So right here it has it grayed out. This is what you want to turn off. Turn on fast startup. This is recommended. However, I do not recommend this at all. It says it helps, helps your PC start your PC after shutdown. So this right here is what keeps your computer in a pseudo on state. In order to change this, you have to hit this administrative button. Once it hits it, you see that it ungrays it, and you can select it and uncheck it. And that's what you want to do. Honestly, I recommend this whether or not you use the lights or not, because I don't know about you guys, I don't like, if I want my stuff off, I want it off, not in the state of, oh, I'm kind of off and kind of on at the same time. For me personally, I don't like that. And not only that, it makes you have to do these restart power cycles to clear things out of cache. And to me, that's a bit annoying. When I shut my computer off, I want it to clear cache. That's the whole purpose of it. This does not do that. It keeps things in cache. So I highly recommend turning it off. Why they made this a feature, I'm not sure. It's kind of pointless. But that's all I got for you guys. Computer's been working great for me. The case has been doing well. I'm thinking about doing some extra modifications to it in the near future, so I'll do some videos on that. Basically, I'm gonna do some more modifications of the case where I can put in a 3060 bracket mount, so I can mount a 3060 IO in it for the CPU. The CPU does, it needs a lot to cool it off, and to maintain all the performance, because my plan is to keep this computer set up for a very long time, and I honestly don't want to have to like swap anything out, and eventually games will catch up with the performance specs of this computer, and when that happens, I don't want to have to do anything. So I'll show what I can on the modifications that when I do it. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, please give me a like. Even if you disliked it, put your opinions down in the comment for if you have any questions about the build and what you can do for the build. For me, I've been helping a lot of people with their builds, so if you need help with your builds, I'm more than willing to help you out. My replies might be a little slow because I am currently in class and I have to do a lot of studying, so I'm not always checking the comments, but I'll get to the comments as soon as I can. Appreciate you guys watching. Anything else you would like to see from this computer? Like if you would like for me to post any benchmarks or anything like that, just let me know and I'll take a look at it. Other than that, you guys have a good one. Thank you for your time.